So, Call of Duty is $70 on Steam right now, $100 if you want the Vault Edition. But I know that not all of you are made of money, so I figured you'd appreciate knowing about a completely free alternative that also won't require a supercomputer to run it. This game is completely free to download on Steam right now, and while it's not absolutely amazing, it is free, which is, the next best thing, right? Introducing Iron Sight, a completely free game on Steam that isn't all that bad. Currently sitting at a 72% mostly positive reviews. On paper, this might seem to even be better than Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, currently sitting at a comfortable 56% review score. Really? On Steam? Wow. But I know reviews can be deceiving, so if you click the link in the comments, you can download it for yourself after you've watched my video. And if you want to know more, I'm going to do a nice little deep dive in this video of everything that you can expect out of this game. No, this is not a sponsored video, although maybe it should be. Iron Sight? Huh? Pay me money. But when I see quality free games like this, even though they're not the most amazing thing in the world, I feel like you all would definitely be interested in trying it out. Alright, first things first, one of my favorite features of this game is the fact that not only does it have competitive multiplayer, but also has support for AI, meaning you can play single player against bots. Oh, thank God, thank God. As you all know, single player support is my jam. This game also has a wide variety of weapons that are all also fully customizable. There's also an entire weapons range where you can try out all of the different weapons and their attachments, which I always like to see in any game. I don't understand how that is ever acceptable to not have in your game, right? This project has quite a few firearms that you can use, even some of the newer rare ones. And there are a lot of guns in this game. I mean, quite a few. You've got your classics like the Chris Vector and the P90, but you also have some of the unexpected rare weapons like the AR-57, commonly known as the FSS Hurricane in Modern Warfare 2. Now, I'm not gonna lie, one of my favorite things about this game isn't just the fact that it's free, but also the variety of game modes that it has, particularly the single-player ones. You all know on this channel I have talked about a variety of games, all that have suffered from one of the biggest problems in modern gaming. The fact that there is no single-player component at all, which means if the game is dead, you are not going to be playing it anyway. But that is why Iron Sight is a breath of fresh air and honestly a perfect example of what to do right when it comes to making a game. This game doesn't just have your standard tutorial, which was actually pretty fun, I have to say, but it also has full-blown single-player missions that you can play in addition to your standard AI matches that you can play with bots on your traditional multiplayer maps. And this is how it should be. Anybody else looking to make a video game, please take note. If you are going to create a multiplayer shooter, it needs to have some kind of single-player component. Even if it's not a massive single-player component, but just something so people can still play even if there's nobody else online. Now, the maps in Iron Sight is nothing to really write home about. They're solid, small-scale maps. These aren't large battlefield-scale maps by any means, but they get the job done. But I would say the variety of game modes on these maps is what makes them shine. You've got your standard gun game and free-for-all, but you also have a variety of game mechanics that make the game a little bit more fun. Especially how it incorporates the drones into the game. You can call in drones to do things like attacking from the sky, as well as having deployable turret drones or even spy drones that act as a semi-UAV. Also, a lot of the maps have really interesting and weird, almost Levolution-style mechanics, where you have rockets that take off into the sky, or even parts of the map that can be destroyed in order to trigger a different evolution to the gameplay, which, I don't know, I think that's a pretty cool detail. that gives this game a little bit more character that a lot of games that are free on Steam definitely don't have. So, while the maps in this game are definitely not the most amazing thing that you're ever going to play, for a free-to-play game on Steam, there's a lot more detail and depth here than you'd probably typically experience with a free game. Now, the multiplayer in this game is about as straightforward as you can get. You have your standard waiting lobby where you can join and fight against random other players, but there is also a server browser, which I think is a nice feature to have for any type of game like this. You can spin up a server, customize the game mode, and pick whatever map you want. A nice feature for a free multiplayer game that I wish more games had. Lots of games nowadays seem to stop you from being able to customize anything. So any game, especially free games, that let you do that is definitely a win in my book. Now, there is no mod support for this game, so the amount of customization for your multiplayer experience is going to be limited. But I would say overall, this is a pretty solid multiplayer experience. It does have epic anti-cheat, although anti-cheats are seemingly becoming less and less effective as cheating software becomes more and more advanced. But with that said, I can't say in my own personal experience that I ran into any obvious cheaters while I was playing this game, which for a free multiplayer shooter, I'd say that's a pretty rare feat. So, good job, Iron Sights. Your multiplayer isn't trash. Otherwise, the EMP missions were pretty fun, where you deploy into an area with a bunch of allies on the ground in order to fight your way to an EMP charge that you have to enable and destroy all of the local enemy drones. This is kind of a fight to a point, defend the point game mode, but all in all, I would say that it was actually pretty fun. Personally, if they're interested in updating this game with additional single-player content, I think something like this would be a really great place to focus on, adding maybe even more cooperative modes into the game that you could play with your friends. I think that cooperative gameplay is something that is drastically overlooked in a lot of games today, and I would say that this game, Iron Sight, has a lot of potential there that maybe isn't fully tapped in yet. I did enjoy the drone gameplay, similar to kill streaks that you would have in your traditional Modern Warfare 2 setting, but with more of a drone flair. Having things that you can actually deploy on the ground or call in as a strike is a fun spin on what would otherwise be a pretty run-of-the-mill shooter. I feel like for a game like this, they didn't have to implement anything that would make it stand out from everything else, but you can tell that they are interested in adding their own little flair. Ultimately, I'm going to be honest with you all. This is not the best game in the world, but I think that's something that's kind of important to keep in mind. A game doesn't have to be absolutely groundbreaking to still be fun. And in a world of incredibly saturated titles with predatory game mechanics and all sorts of other problems, I would say having a standard free game that isn't absolutely horrible is somewhat of an achievement. It has all of the little bits and pieces that I've complained about other games not having in the past. Single-player support, good, solid, basic game modes, and just a general sense of accessibility that lets you enjoy the game without putting too many paywalls between you and the core experience. Having some of these basic things, like a firing range where you can try out every single weapon, as well as trying out all of the maps with AI, are excellent examples of features that I think every game should have. And those things make this game just good enough, I think, to be worth recommending. Besides that, I do find games exactly like this through your all's recommendations. I found Iron Sight because one of you guys suggested it, so if you have any other free games or other projects that you think I should check out, please let me know down in the comments. There's lots of projects out there that I think are worth our attention, but sometimes it's just hard to find them. If you guys want to watch my other content, click the link in the video, and besides that, hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.